With that, I want to share a quick video with Rob Sperry that gives us some quick tips. He's actually in a safari trip in Africa, but took the time to do a quick video for us to motivate you and encourage you on best ways to utilize social media platforms, especially throughout this challenge. And right after that, we have the magnificent Carolyn McMakin joining us. So with that, let me share this video.
What's up, Healy World? I am so excited. One of the parts I love about social media is it doesn't matter wherever you are in the world, you can actually do trainings like these. And I am traveling like I'm always traveling, but at the same time, I get to provide some value for all of you. So social media is one of those passions of mine. I started out and made some really good income. I became a top earner. Now, as many of you know, I'm just a coach. I'm not part of any company, so I get to help you guys out, coach you guys, give all insights and perspective. But to give you a little bit of background, I didn't post anything on social media that connected, related, helped, anything with my business at all for years. We're talking I became a top earner just doing everything just the old school way, and the old school way still works. The new school is not taking away from the old school. The new school is utilizing social media, which are the old school timeless principles that always work. But when you start utilizing both the old school techniques and principles and you merge and combine them on social media, all you do is enhance the velocity of your business. So I'm so excited for this challenge for all of you. And I'm going to give you some tips to help you out. And I know there's lots of different ways for you to create exposure on social media. The first thing I'm going to tell you is the thing that changed everything for me on social media is when I committed to consistency. And I know that sounds really basic, but I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to say it, but I committed to posting every single day. And some days, of course, like, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it? And I posted some things that probably weren't that good. No, in fact, they weren't. And my memories pop up and I just cringe and I think, oh, that content was so bad. How did I think it was good? But you got to be bad before you're good. So get over yourself and just be consistent. As you're consistent, what will happen is you'll start to find your voice. As you're consistent with posting content, what will happen is you'll start to see some posts that you thought were really bad and they do really well. And it gives you insights into what your audience loves about you. You'll find some posts you thought were really good and people don't seem to engage or like them. So through the consistency, what I like to do is every month I like to do an audit. And I like to look at the top 5 posts and the bottom 5 posts. And this gives me insights into what my audience likes. Now let's go into some techniques. Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives. They can be really scary. So here's some tips to really help you out as you make it happen. Tip number 1, and this is a super important one. The hook. What's the hook? The hook is the first couple seconds are the most important seconds on a live. This is where you capture your audience's attention. This is where you stop their scroll because think they're on the scroll patrol. And all of a sudden, they have to see something that stops their scroll. And if they hop on the live and you start your live, right, and there's nobody on your live, trust me, we've all been there, done that, and nobody's on your lives, you say, oh, hey, Sally, thanks for joining. Oh, Julie just joined. Oh, hey, girl, what's going on? Just waiting for a couple more to hop on. We're not doing the live for the live. Don't forget that. You're doing the live for the replay. What does that mean? You're doing your live for the replay viewers. Those are most of the viewers that you're going to have. They're going to be replay viewers. So at the beginning, you're going to lose all those replay viewers because you're doing the live for the live, waiting for people to come on. So instead, no, I'm going to start right away. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, right? You could talk about anything. Maybe you're not talking about your business. Maybe you're talking about something you're passionate about. Maybe it's, right away you start it and you're like, hey, I'm traveling over the world. I want to give all of you my top 3 hikes I've ever done before, but I want to talk about a recent one I just did. You see how that first sentence was really engaging? Maybe you want to talk about health and wellness. So you start that out right away. You start out, I'm excited to talk to you and tell them what you're going to tell them. They teach us in public speaking Tell them what you're going to tell them right out of the gate. Then tell them, and then at the end, tell them what you told them. So that's the hook. Now, part of the hook is also the headline. The headline is so important because, again, this stops their scroll as they're going. And so inside of a Facebook Live, or right as you're doing it, you want to make sure that your headline's compelling. Now, it doesn't need to be clickbaity, right? It doesn't need to be something that's spammy. It doesn't need to be something that's annoying. But I want to create a compelling headline. A compelling headline, I want you to challenge yourself and say, if I saw this headline, would I stop and actually watch this live? And if you would, good job. That means it's something compelling. But if you wouldn't, that's not something that you should probably post. So don't overthink it. You can utilize things like ChatGPT and just put in ChatGPT if you're not familiar with it, right? It's the new modern Google on steroids, and you could just put in there, hey, I'm doing a Facebook Live and I need to create a headline that's not spammy, but also one that will catch their attention right away. Right now, here's the current headline I have, and this is what my live is about. And then you ask it one question at the very end to ChatGPT. You say, what questions do you have for me? Because then it's going to ask you questions back so it can accurately respond. That's the most important part of ChatGPT. See, we're teaching how to use AI right now also for social media. So that's for lives. We've got headline, we got very first sentence. Next thing is always make sure you're looking in the camera hole, because a lot of people are like this. Hey, welcome to my live, right? And it's distracting. So I do my best to make sure that I'm looking in the camera hole. Another tip is if you get nervous, what you can do is you can create a piece of paper and just put your notes. Either you can put it right behind your phone and look at, or even if you have your notes right here and you can look down on them and just say, I got some notes. Don't be scared. That's okay. You're being raw. You're being real. You're being vulnerable. And so you can also have some notes that are right there that people can look at as you go, because you want to be organized as you're doing these lives. You don't want to be scattered all over the place. And sometimes we can ramble and keep talking and talking. We lose their attention. The next thing is less is more. So yes, good content is good content. If you can keep them engaged for an hour, props to you. But more and more, people are liking short form content. That's why you look at Reels are taking off. TikTok has done extremely well because of that. People want to consume in these short micro bursts. And so I look at it, when you create a live, there's no set amount of time, but you want to deliver it in the shortest amount of time possible. So if you've got one that's prepared in 30 minutes, let's see if you can do it in 15 and cut out the fluff. If it's a 15-minute live, let's see if you can do it in 5 minutes. Let's cut out the fluff. So as much as possible, that'll help you out. Now, as far as what content, either you're going to be the reporter or the expert. So this is the next tip. So the reporter, let's say you're talking about something like, oh, I'm not an expert and I don't want to feel like I'm coming off as the expert. That's okay. You can report on what the experts say and give your personal opinion, right? So that could be anything, whatever you're talking about. You could do some due diligence, some research. You can go on ChatGPT or Google, and it gives you some opinions, and you can cite what it says, right? And say, this study said this and this and this, right? Or this individual said this and this and this. And then you just give your opinion on it. That's a reporter sharing credibility. An expert is where you're just sharing your opinion, which is an expert opinion. I know many of you are experts. I know we got many doctors and top-notch people in here. And of course, you can be the expert. So either you're the expert or you're the person that is the reporter. And so as you do a lot of these simple things, this will help out tremendously. The next thing you can do, as soon as your live is done, you can go in the comments and you can start tagging people to bring them in, right? To create more engagement, because that's how the algorithm works. The algorithm works, the more engagement there is on a post, the more it will show that post to other people. So you want to create more awareness, you want to get more visibility. So sometimes you're like, oh, I only got one comment. Well, that's okay. Number one, go reply to other comments, because that creates more engagement. Number two is go tag someone you feel like would love the live that you just did and say, hey, I just did this live on whatever your title is about, love to hear your thoughts. And then you go tag someone else. You could say something similar and alter it a little bit differently, and that'll help you out tremendously. The next tip is, you do lives, is you can take that live and you'll see that it actually is, typically it should be shared to your stories depending on your settings. Make sure it's a public setting. But that's another way that you create exposure as you're making these lives happen. Now, I suggest as you're learning to do this, if you're all out, just crazy, go do live every single day for the next 10 days during this challenge. If that scares you, that's okay. You can mix and match, and you could do 3 to 4 lives. If it's something where that scares you even too much, I challenge you the very least, do 1 live, get over yourself, right? Ego stands for edging God out. Ego stands for everyone's got one. Your ego ain't your amigo. So I challenge you to at least do 1, but decide on what level you want to play this, because don't look at the live where you're freaking out because you didn't have that many comments. Look at the live and say, you know what, I'm finding my voice, right? Look at the live as you're creating loyal followers. It's much better to have only 50 views and you create 1 raving fan than do an incredible post where you get 100 likes and you create 0 raving fans. And so I know it takes time, but lives are a great way for people to actually start to really get to know you. And they're so powerful. So don't forget that. I always say, right, is your why a lie? And this is what I'm going to finish with. And the reason why I say that is because everyone says their why is so big, their why is so deep. And the reason why I say is your why a lie is because, are you willing to do what it takes? And this is one of those things that I know will help out your business tremendously. You're not going to be great right away. And that's one of the most empowering parts, because you can share with teammates later how bad your lives were. I do. My lives were so bad when I started. And now as a coach, it's very empowering where people are like, oh, Rob wasn't that good when he started. No, I wasn't. I'd only get 2 or 3 comments, and most of them were from my mom. And I'm not kidding either. And that's when I had a business in 40 countries when I used to be building, right? Because I was that bad and people didn't love my content. So I tell you that to empower you. I love this challenge. So many great training, so much great content. Take it seriously. Let's crush it. Let's keep it happening. I'm so honored to have been on, and I'm excited. I know we're going to do many more of these social media trainings.